There's data regarding the child tax credit monthly checks for children. Additionally, there is news about extra money for individuals receiving Social Security Administration benefits. Along with these updates, we have a variety of other daily news to discuss. Let's dive right into today's update. President Joe Biden is currently reviewing a new opportunity to reduce gas prices. Two lawmakers have proposed legislation to temporarily suspend the federal gas tax until next year. Experts estimate that this suspension, known as a tax holiday, could potentially decrease gas prices by around 19 cents per gallon. The intention is to prevent oil companies from having any influence over the implementation of this tax holiday. If the price dropped by 20 cents, there would be an opportunity for a profit increase. To achieve that, they would need to collaborate with Big Oil to maintain the tax savings. The current gas prices in Vegas are extremely high, with gas costing about $5.60 per gallon. However, there is some positive news. 3 states implemented a gas suspension tax or a gas tax holiday, and it appears that the oil companies did not raise prices in those areas. This outcome aligns with our goal of seeing a genuine reduction in savings. The data confirms that the reduction in gas prices is indeed significant and beneficial. The primary concern regarding this proposal, as addressed by the White House, is the potential removal of approximately $15 billion in gas and road taxes. This could result in a lack of funding for various projects, such as repairing bridges. However, given the current circumstances, I believe it might be acceptable for 2 reasons. Firstly, if gas prices remain high, investing in road infrastructure might not serve a significant purpose. The majority of the population is currently preoccupied with figuring out how to afford enough gas to commute, to work and earn a living. If people are unable to reach their workplaces, it would heavily impact the U.S. economy. Moreover, as mentioned in my previous report last fall, the Biden administration had secured bipartisan support from both Republicans and Democrats for a $1 trillion infrastructure spending plan. If they were to allocate $15 billion or even slightly more from that budget, it would still leave a substantial amount of money already approved and ready for implementation, bypassing the need for additional approval from Congress. This available funding can be utilized in these urgent situations to benefit the American people. Considering the significant financial assistance we have provided to other nations, it is now crucial to prioritize helping our own citizens. Essentially, there is $1 trillion sitting in a bank account, waiting to be utilized for this purpose. Currently, there is a substantial amount of money that has not been utilized in the U.S. economy, which could be put to good use. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has expressed that the idea is worth considering, while President Biden mentioned his intention to review the data and consult with economists before making a final decision on a potential gas tax holiday. It is disappointing that a final decision has not been made yet, but it appears that they are currently in the process of reviewing the matter. It is disheartening to observe that the focus is shifting towards removing taxes on oil, especially when President Biden continues to explore ways to obtain oil from other countries, rather than promoting domestic production. I have contemplated this matter, and it seems inconsistent to differentiate between extracting oil domestically versus acquiring it from foreign nations, except perhaps to convey adherence to the green agenda by reducing domestic extraction while relying on other countries for supply. It is somewhat hypocritical when you think about it. In fact, Germany recently announced that due to various factors, they are currently facing a situation where their coal plants are being reactivated to generate more energy. This move contradicts the efforts of one of the leading European countries in the Paris Climate Accord, highlighting the challenges they are encountering. in meeting their energy demands. We must acknowledge and navigate the reality of the circumstances we find ourselves in. Meanwhile, an increasing number of Americans are raising questions about the 2020 presidential election and the events of January 6th. Some individuals are leaning towards the belief that Donald Trump played a role in these occurrences, while another segment of the population is growing more determined to see Trump return to the White House. This divisive topic has created a significant polarization, and it has been intriguing to read perspectives from both far-right and far-left sources as I search for a middle ground, which is where the majority of Americans tend to lie, somewhere between moderate Democrats and conservative Republicans. However, we will have to wait and see what the final conclusion is regarding these matters. Trump, on one hand, is defending himself by questioning why the National Guard wasn't called, and when he had suggested it, why there was insufficient security on that day, and why only half of the expected police presence was there. The investigation is still ongoing, and you can tune into live broadcasts of the events that took place on January 6th. While critics of Trump argue that there is no substantial evidence of widespread election fraud, Republicans in Texas held a meeting where they declared President Joe Biden as an illegitimate president. They explicitly stated that they no longer accept him as their president. It's worth noting that Texas has previously raised the possibility of seceding from the nation and pursuing an independent path. This declaration can be seen as a form of expressing their extreme dissatisfaction with the current president. These circumstances are becoming increasingly peculiar, and there is an underlying concern about the potential of another civil war arising. The current state of affairs in the United States can be likened to a political civil war. The nation is deeply divided on issues like abortion, elections, and taxation. This increasing polarization is concerning, and it is not necessarily a positive development. It seems that politicians are content with fostering animosity among the American people. However, when individuals engage in meaningful conversations, they often discover that despite their differences, they share a common identity as Americans. It is the politicians who continue to fuel hatred, and this phenomenon is not limited to one side of the political spectrum. Amidst economic struggles and inflation, drug prices are also on the rise. Nevertheless, a recent study conducted in Boston revealed that Medicare could save a significant amount of money, approximately $3.6 billion, by redirecting their drug purchases through billionaire Mark Cuban's newly established drug company, the Mark Cuban Cost Plus Drug Company. Essentially, Cuban, as a billionaire, has negotiated lower drug prices and implemented a modest markup of only 15%, as opposed to the significantly higher markups of 100%, 200%, 300%, or even 1,000% seen elsewhere. Consequently, there is a growing sentiment to explore alternative approaches to negotiating with drug companies. The idea is to bypass the companies altogether and instead engage with a billionaire who has successfully negotiated lower drug prices. By doing so, it is estimated that around $4 billion could be saved, with the potential for passing these savings on to the American people. It would be worth considering this billionaire's drug company when purchasing prescription drugs, as it could result in significant cost reductions for individuals as well as for the nation's taxpayers in the long run. In other news, the Supreme Court is expected to announce their decision on Roe v. Wade in the near future. Some speculate that the ruling could be released as early as Thursday or Friday, while others anticipate it may take several weeks. There are concerns about potential widespread Rioting